In this video, we are going to recap the LSU Tigers versus the Auburn Tigers basketball game, which will include what were they doing on the last play or last possession of the game, LSU. I've got real questions about that. As well, does Kim Mulkey need to watch the movie Some Kind of Wonderful to solve the biggest problem for LSU? Before we start, if you enjoy the content, then please give the video a like and would be grateful if you would subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get into this. In my last video regarding LSU, I pointed out 3 problems, which were their lack of depth. Their defense could be better, and the biggest issue was their point guard. Although I was positive in the video saying that Mulkey had the solution, which was basically their offense was so good it would cover a lot of these ills. Well, that was wrong. Coach Johnny's game plan of the Auburn Tigers was basically, I will let Angel Reese get hers. We are not going to double down on her and give her guards open looks. No. Angel, you get yours, but we are going to put pressure on the perimeter players at all times. So Reese dominated, going for 24 points on 8 of 15 shooting from the floor. But the Auburn Tigers made life difficult for the LSU Wings and their point guards, both Poa and HVL. Not surprisingly, Mulkey hates both of her point guards. All right, that's a bit extreme. She doesn't hate them, but she is damn frustrated with them as they both got benched. So Poa got benched in the first half after throwing an awful pass into the post at the 5:50 mark in the second quarter. You knew Mulkey was irritated as we had a Janae Kent sighting in the first half. She actually got 6 minutes versus getting just 1 minute of time versus Texas A&M and Ole Miss. HVL also struggled, so she only got 3 points off 1 for 9 shooting. As well, she was just always slow setting the offense. She would always yo-yo the ball up at the top of the key and was slow to initiate the offense. And to be fair, Mulkey called this out at the end of the game. The Wings really did not work hard enough to get open. They weren't cutting hard. They were just basically standing around and saying, pass me the ball, but they really were not open because Auburn was guarding them so tight and so hard. And then at the 4:18 mark in the fourth quarter, HVL got pulled for making just a terrible pass to Angel Reese in the post. Reese was surrounded by 3 players. It was nowhere. It hit the backboard. It was like one of the worst passes you could see. Straight away, Mulkey called for Poa to go into the game. And HVL did not get in even when things were tight going down to the last minute mark, as Mulkey felt more comfortable staying with Poa. Overall, HVL just seems a bit lost out there. She doesn't know whether to force the ball into the post or try to force her game and take shots, and just you're not really getting much out of her because she's in 2 minds, and it's much harder to initiate the offense versus quality teams in the SEC versus the previous garbage teams that were playing in their non-conference. But Poa really does not give you much on offense, so it's sort of choose your poison with both of these, and they at times have bad turnovers like they did today. Now, everybody will be throwing flowers at Angel Reese, but her defense at the end of the fourth quarter was not great. She had 2 closeouts where she let people get around her as she just closed out too aggressively. And in large part, I think that is fatigue, as they are playing long minutes as they do not have anybody else to come in. And then that ties into the LSU defense overall. They did not guard pick and roll very well, and HVL got torched a lot as well. One of their defensive goals is to hold the other team under 40%, and they just did not achieve that, as Auburn shot 44% from the field. And again, I think a lot is fatigue. A lot of it was misreads on the pick and roll. After the last game versus Texas A&M, Mulkey talked about how your point guard needs to be your quarterback and control the game. Essentially saying this comes from the coach and then to the point guard who controls it, when to rotate the ball, how to slow things down, where to be with it. And that is obviously one of the big overriding problems with LSU right now. What's the saying in football? You have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterback. And really, she does not know who the quarterback of her team is. And that showed through at the very end of the game. So they wind up getting the ball, and Reese dribbles it up. And I'm like, nah, that's a terrible move. One, if Reese gets fouled, I'm not real keen on her shooting for the game to tie the game. Two, it was just a classic vanity thing. Like, I want to dribble it up. I want to, hit the game winner as the clock goes down. But when she does that, she takes the best rebounder LSU has on the court essentially away. Like, turns her into a ball handler. If you feel that you can't run your offense to get a good shot and you want to go ISO, then the person to go to was Williams, essentially. Essentially, at the end of the first half, they spread the floor, and Williams took the player off the dribble and gave a bounce pass to Morrow. Easy look and basket. I would have done the same thing again. They did this again in the third quarter, and Williams got a good shot from the elbow. It missed, but God, I'd much rather have that and know that I have Morrow and Angel Reese going for the rebound versus Angel Reese going ISO. And don't tell me how she was a point guard in high school. I know she was a point guard in high school, but come on. She's not a half-court point guard. In transition, yeah, dribbled up and make a play. She's quite capable of that. But to go one-on-one in the half-court and for Mulkey to say afterwards, everything else hadn't worked, so why not? I trusted my captain and my All-American, and I'm going to give her a shot. I'm just like, no, that was not the play. And it just goes to show how you do not have a point guard on this team, as the ball should be in the point guard's hands at the end of the game and then get it to the wing and sort it out. And then this is where I go to romantic comedies of the 80s, Some Kind of Wonderful. If you don't remember this terrible movie, Eric Stoltz is in love with the beautiful girl at school, but he has a best friend. He should have been going after her the whole time. And at the end of the movie, he figures it out and goes after her. And with Mulkey, I would say the same thing with her. Hey, you have a point guard on your team. You're just not using her. Your point guard is Michaela Williams, the one and only. Look at Texas. After Roy Harmon got hurt, Vic Schaefer moved Madison Booker to point and said, yeah, we'll have some growing pains, but really, she's my most talented and should have the ball in her hands. In my opinion, they need to get the ball more in Williams' hands and have her run the point a lot more and have HVL on the wing. I mean, you can interchange it at times. It doesn't have to be locked in that way. But I reckon you're getting so little right now from HVL at point. And when Poe is in there, then fine, move Williams back to the wing, and that would give her, if you think she's going to be more of a scoring threat, I understand that you wouldn't want to take her totally off the wing, but right now I think she needs to be more in the mix at point guard. If the game is on the line, that is who I want to have their hands on the ball. Now, I know she did not have a good game today. Like, she had a pretty bad carry at one point, and she struggled with her shot and everything else, but man, she's the one that should be controlling the ball, and then she can run pick and roll off Reese or Morrow, and I think everything would look a hell of a lot nicer that way. Anyway, your thoughts, your poison. As well, we'll look closer at South Carolina, LSU later in the week, but man, they must be licking their chops, South Carolina, because they are just going to go after the LSU guards, and they're one of the few teams with the size inside to compete with LSU, so it should be interesting, that matchup. But we'll talk about that more later in the week. All right, thanks a lot for watching. Have a great night.